Bob Meloni from MyMMANews. I'm over at TKO Fitness with Korean Thunder Ryan Kim Cafaro. Ryan, I go back a long way with Ryan since his amateur days. He's got a fight coming up at Maverick, main event against somebody who him and I have seen fight a lot, Scott Heckman. But before we talk about that fight, I want to talk a little bit about Ryan's career and how he got to this path. Ryan, listen, when I watch you and other guys that you train with, like the Suitcase Kid, you guys to me are almost like students of the game now. I mean, you really have, with the weight cutting and the technical stuff, the film, you guys really put a lot into that. What made you become such a student of MMA? Because when you first started, you were a good fighter, but to me now, you're more of a thinking man's fighter.
It was because I wanted to win. And because I wanted to win, I had to, there's too many things to learn in MMA for you to not be working on it and not progressing every single day. So, be it, learning nutrition, learning general fitness, how to prevent injuries, and then in addition to just training your general skill set, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, judo, boxing, kick, you know what I mean? The skill set is endless, and you can always experiment and learn new things. And there's, with the internet today, there's footage everywhere that you can use from, every corner of the world that you can take advantage of and learn new moves and new ways to implement your game. So,
well, listen, it's paid off for you because, listen, you do a lot of travel now. I mean, you're like one of the trainers to the stars. You've got to work with, Frankie Edgar, Marlon Moraes, Paul Felder. You help these guys cut weight. He's one of the best pad holders around. He's not just a great fighter. So you obviously have expanded into the sport. So you being a student of the game, I'm sure, is recognized by other fighters because you are a man who's in need. Recently, you were supposed to go work with Ray Borg, but unfortunately, he had a situation with his son. So you work with those guys, helping them get ready for big fights. Who's working with you? Who you sparring with? Who's your main trainer for this fight coming up at Maverick?
Yeah, well, real quick, you just mentioned Ray Borg, and Ray Borg, I hope you're doing okay, and I wish your son the best. Hope he recovers well from battling hydrocephalus right now. But my two and three main strike, I actually have 3 striking coaches, so which is probably why my striking so aggressive and why I always want to stand up. But I work with Aaron Meisner for my MMA striking. We work a lot on a lot of the aspects of combining Muay Thai and boxing into MMA. For strict Muay Thai, I work with Wasim Saad, and I train with him here. And then I also work with Boxing Rel. So he's one of the pad holders for like Ted Farmer, and he's just a phenomenal boxing coach. And I feel like my hands have shot up levels for this fight in particular.
Well, you talk about your striking, but listen. Even though you're not a black belt or anything, your ground game and your jiu-jitsu is very underrated. He won his last fight by ninja choke, and he's about to give us a tutorial. He's going to put me in a ninja choke, which you don't see a lot. It's an uncommon submission, but obviously he's a student of the game, and he's going to give us a little tutorial and talk us through it while he puts me in a ninja choke, and this is how he won his last fight.
So the first thing I did was I kicked him in the face, which helps a lot. So when you get kicked in the face, you're obviously a little loopy and your defense is compromised. So when I fought Jared Mercado, he shot in and he put his head right here, but stuck his head forward aggressively without the rest of his body. So all I had to do from here was lean my shoulder in and then flip the elbow up, and it essentially becomes a rear naked choke lock over the top. So from here, all I have to do is squeeze my arms and I'll get the tap. So that's essentially how I did it. He bailed to the ground and I followed.
There you go. He's strong in his ground game. Now, let's talk about your fight, okay? Main event, Maverick 7, is it?
Yes.
Scott Heckman for the title. Is this your first pro title shot?
Correct. Now
listen, Scott Heckman, when Ryan was fighting amateur, Scott Heckman was fighting in the main events on the pro card. So both of us have got to see, Scott Heckman fight a lot. I'm sure you have a lot of respect for your opponent, like you do for most of us.
Absolutely. Watching one of Scott's old fights, he was actually fighting against my coach Brian Jackson at the time, and it hurt me to watch my coach Brian Jackson lose at the time. Brian has moved on and is still killing it in the fitness industry in Florida, but there's still like a little bit of fire in him because it's like I want to get that one back to the old coach. For the old Coach Jackson on that one. So I've had my eye on Heckman for a very, very, very long time. It's just now the opportunity presents itself to where I can actually be at that level to compete with Scott Heckman. So what I think is it's no disrespect, but I strongly believe I'm going to blow him out of the water.
Well, listen, Scott's always been on the cusp, not making it to the UFC, but he has a really tremendous record. Do you think a victory here? I mean, you're still young enough. Do you you know, obviously you would love to go to the UFC, right? I mean, you have a lot of connections there. Yes. You're on a winning streak. How many fights have you won in a row now?
4.
And that's because you also have stopped cutting as much weight. Has that made a big difference for you? You used to cut a lot more weight. You told me you didn't feel as strong. Now that you've got it down to a science, you kind of don't cut as much weight, correct?
I tried to make 35, and that was horrible. I won't do that again. Won't do it again.
So you're 145 from here on
145
out?
all the way. Yeah.
All right, so UFC 145, look out. Ryan, well, first one fight at a time. He's coming for Maverick's title.
Well,
Scott
Heckman.
You know,
in addition, the fight has to be exciting. I have to win in exciting fashion. UFC. If let's say if I just jab Scott Heckman and defend his takedowns, or I take Scott and just hold him against the cage for 3 rounds, no one's getting signed anywhere. So you know, I not only have to win this fight, but I have to win it in dominant and impressive fashion.
All right, Ryan Cafaro, listen, on the way out the door, give any shout outs to any love to any coaches, sponsors, anybody on the way out the door that's helping you for this fight.
Just thank you to all my coaches and sponsors and you know, supporters that make this possible, that come out to my fights. My mom, my dad, my sister, my girlfriend Shannon, love you. So thank you for all your support.
Appreciate it, Ryan. Best of luck to you, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate it.